Good morning. You're listening to The Brief Wake Up, your mindful start to the day. I'm Handel, your daily coffee companion, helping you wake up informed, thoughtful, and maybe just a little amused before the day gets old. If you're commuting, corralling kids, or just standing in line for caffeine, you're in the right place. Let's get you caught up. Let's start with our health. Vitamin B12, what it is, how to spot a deficiency, and how to treat it. Vitamin B12 is your body's electrical wiring specialist. It keeps your nerves insulated, your red blood cells forming correctly, and your brain running like it slept last night. You don't make B12 on your own. You must get it from food, meat, eggs, dairy, fish, or fortified products. That means if your diet leans towards low animal product, or your gut absorbs things poorly, your B12 can quietly slide into the danger zone. And here's the tricky part. B12 deficiency creeps. It doesn't always show up with fireworks. Sometimes it whispers before it screams. Well, how can you tell if you're deficient? Symptoms tend to cluster around three big systems. Energy system resulting in fatigue, low stamina and having felt like you slept but are tired. The nervous system with tingling in hands or feet, numbness, balance issues, brain fog and mood changes. Blood system causing pale skin, shortness of breath on exertion, and a fast heart rate. Some folks also get a swollen tongue, mouth sores, or a weird pins and needles sensation that feels like your limbs are buffering. The people most at risk for B12 deficiency are those with autoimmune gastritis or pernicious anemia, vegan/vegetarians without supplementation, folks on long-term metformin or acid-suppressing meds, and anyone with gut issues like Crohn's, celiac, or a history of gastric bypass. All this can be diagnosed with a simple blood test checking your B12 level, but doctors often add methylmalonic acid or homocysteine for accuracy. These go up when B12 is truly low, even if the basic level looks normal. If you're symptomatic, that's enough reason to get checked. And lastly, what about treatment? Luckily, treatment is basically a glow-up for your cells. Mild deficiency is treated with oral supplements, 500 to 1,000 micrograms daily. Moderate to severe deficiency with higher dose oral therapy, or B12 injections weekly at first, then monthly. Pernicious anemia or absorption issues may require injections long term. Regarding maximizing what you can get from diet, boost intake with meat, eggs, dairy, fish, or fortified cereals. Most people start feeling better in days to weeks, but nerve symptoms can take months to recover, so don't let it linger. The bottom line, vitamin B12 is small but mighty. If you've been dragging your feet, zoning out mid-sentence, or getting weird tingles like your body is trying to text you, it might be time to check your B12. The fix is simple, the impact is big, and your nerves will thank you. And now, on to the news. In the Philippines over the past weekend, a powerful typhoon has left major damage across the central islands. Entire neighborhoods are flooded, tens of thousands of people are displaced, and more than 100 lives lost. Several provinces are still without power. Rescue teams are trying to reach areas cut off by landslides, and officials say the storm strengthened so quickly that many barely had time to prepare. Before we go further, a quick explainer. A hurricane and a typhoon are the same kind of storm. The only difference is geography. If it forms in the Atlantic or Eastern Pacific, it's a hurricane. If it forms in the Western Pacific, it's a typhoon. Same engine, same structure, same danger. Which brings us to the bigger issue. This typhoon behaved exactly like Hurricane Melissa did in the Caribbean. A weak disturbance one day, a major storm the next. Warmer oceans give these systems more fuel, and warmer air loads them with more moisture. The result is what we're seeing everywhere: storms that grow faster, hit harder, and dump more rain than communities can absorb. For the Philippines, the next challenge is the aftermath: clearing debris, preventing waterborne illness, restoring food and power. And back in Jamaica and the Caribbean, Melissa's recovery is still ongoing. Different regions, same story, and that's the point. These storms aren't isolated events anymore. They're part of a pattern. The climate is shifting, and the storms are responding. So as relief teams mobilize in the Philippines, and as Caribbean communities continue to rebuild, the global conversation must move past "how do we fix this" to "how do we prepare for what's coming." For today's big sip, Occam's razor, the truth cuts clean. There's a quiet rule the universe keeps whispering at us, but we rarely listen. Occam's razor, the idea that the simplest explanation is usually the right one, not the flashiest one, not the most dramatic one, just the one with the fewest moving parts. And I get it. Simplicity doesn't always feel satisfying. We're wired to chase patterns, storylines, and hidden motives. Someone pulls away from us, and we start constructing entire psychological novels about why. Meanwhile, reality is often humbler. They're tired, they're insecure, they're scared, or life just pulled them into something heavier than they expected. Occam's razor isn't about dumbing things down. It's about sharpening your perception, cutting away the extra fiction you create, consciously or not, when your mind is hunting for answers that aren't there. Think of how many conflicts start because we picked the complicated explanation. He didn't call back because he's losing interest. She didn't show because she doesn't respect me. They didn't support my idea because they're threatened. But if you hold that razor steady, what you're left with is usually something like, "He got busy. She ran late. They didn't understand what you meant." Not glamorous, not poetic, but real. And here's the philosophical punch. Occam's razor isn't telling you the simple answer is always true. It's telling you the simplest adequate answer tends to be the truth. The explanation that doesn't need a supporting cast of imaginary villains. The one that stays standing after emotion stops directing the scene. The real value of this principle: it frees your mind, cuts you loose from mental clutter, keeps you from spiraling into overanalysis that drains your energy and distorts your relationships. Try this today. Before you jump to the dramatic story, pause, hold the razor. Ask yourself, what's the cleanest explanation that fits what I actually know? Not what you fear, not what you predict, what you know. Life feels lighter when you stop wrestling with shadows you invented. So take a deep breath. Let the noise settle. And remember, the truth rarely wears a disguise. Most of the time, it's just the simplest thing waiting for you to stop overthinking long enough to see it. Now let's lighten us up with the lighter roast. We go outside to be around people, not to meet them. Here's a funny little glitch in modern life. Everybody says they're starving for connection. They want to be outside more, be around people, feel the energy of real humans again. And then they step outside and immediately put up a social firewall with sunglasses, AirPods, and a screen. It's like we're outside for the vibe, not the contact. We want the hum of humanity without the risk of humanity. We'll sit in a park surrounded by 50 potential conversations but talk to none of them. And dating? Forget it. Dating has become the Olympic sport of avoiding eye contact in public but hoping the person you didn't look at matches with you later on an app. Screens trained us to date with undo buttons. You can rewrite your text 3 times, edit your profile like a highlight reel, swipe away a human being because you don't like their hat. But real life doesn't work like that. You don't get a do-over on a hello. There's no retype message button when you say something slightly weird in person. So instead of engaging, we retreat. We scroll from the safety of the mezzanine while the real-world stage stays empty. And now the wild thing is, everyone wants connection, but nobody wants to initiate. You see two people at a cafe, both single, both kind of glancing up, both acting like they'd rather spontaneously combust than make a move. Because in a world built on curated interactions, real-life dating feels like jumping into cold water, shocking, uncomfortable, but also maybe the only honest thing you've done all week. So, we pack into coffee shops, gyms, beaches, and bars like little satellites orbiting each other. Proximity without participation, chemistry without conversation, a whole dating pool where nobody jumps in. Maybe that's the real challenge for this generation. Remembering that romantic connection didn't originally come from swiping, matching, or optimizing your interest section. It came from two humans accidentally bumping into each other and fumbling through a conversation that wasn't edited, filtered, or rehearsed. And who knows, the next time you're out, if you dare to take the earbuds out and say hi to someone, it might be awkward for a few seconds, or it might be the first genuine moment you've had in a very long time. And lastly, for our commemorations. Today, November 11th, is one of those days where history, gratitude, and global culture all meet in one place. First and foremost is Veterans Day in the United States, a day to honor every man and woman who has served in our armed forces. Not just those who fought, but those who trained, deployed, supported, protected, and stood ready. The date goes back to the armistice of World War I, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, when the guns finally went silent. And every year, we pause to acknowledge the people who stepped forward so the rest of us could live our lives in peace and possibility. If you're listening and you've served, or you have family who has served, we honor you today. Across the Atlantic, this same moment is observed as Armistice Day and Remembrance Day throughout the UK and much of the Commonwealth. At 11 a.m., millions stop whatever they're doing for a 2-minute silence, a collective breath of respect for those lost in war, and a reminder that the world we inherited was paid for at a price. And over in Europe, today is also Poland's National Independence Day, marking the country's return to sovereignty in 1918 after more than a century of partition. It's a day filled with parades, flags, and celebrations of national resilience. For anyone with ties to Poland, or anyone who's visited and felt that deep pride in the culture, today is a meaningful one. And then, on a completely different note, November 11th has taken on modern life as Singles Day, the world's largest shopping event, especially in China. What started as a playful anti-Valentine's Day for single people has turned into a global e-commerce phenomenon with record-breaking sales every year. So, from honoring service, to reflecting on history, to celebrating independence, to a worldwide shopping frenzy, today carries a little bit of everything. That's your brief wake-up, a turbocharged Typhoon, a tiny but mighty vitamin, and a simple rule that cuts through our mental noise. Today's show had range. We talked storms, health, overthinking, and why everyone wants connection, but nobody wants to look up from their screen. On this November 11th, we honor service, resilience, and remember that the world is always holding more than one story at a time. This is Handel reminding you to be curious, be kind, and finish that cup. Have a great day, and we will connect tomorrow.